What's up, interwebs? Welcome to Echo Sessions at IamAVL.com. Echo Sessions is brought to you by Prestige Subaru today, and we're sitting in the beautiful Echo Mountain recording studios with this gentleman to my left here, originally from Dublin, Ireland. It's the Irish folk legend, Mr. John Doyle. And we're very excited to have him here today, so we hope you all enjoy this set, and then stick around. We got the Resident Rogues coming up right after him. IamAVL.com. Don't stay home without it. Enjoy.
I know my love by his way of walking, and I know my love by his way of talking, and I know my love in his jacket blue. And if my love leaves me, what will I do? And still she cried, I love him the best, and a trouble mine sure to know no rest. And still she cried, bunny boys are for you, and if my love leaves me, what will I do? I know my love is a handsome rover, and I know my love sails the wild world over, in Spain or France. Well, I'm sure he'll tarry, or an English girl, well, he's sure to marry. And still she cried, I love him the best, and a trouble mine sure to know no rest. And still she cried, bunny boys are for you, and if my love leaves me, what will I do? There is a dance hall in the Mardyke, and it's there my love he goes every night, and he sits that queer one down on his knee. And don't you know, but it troubles me. And still she cried, I love him the best, and in trouble mine sure to know no rest. And still she cried, bunny boys are for you, and if my love leaves me, what will I do? And if my love knew I could wash and wring, and if my love knew I could weave and spin, and make for him a suit of the finest kind, but the want of money short leaves me behind. Still she cried, I love him the best, and a trouble mine sure to know no rest. And still she cried, bunny boys are for you, and if my love leaves me, what will I do? I know my love by his way of walking, and I know my love by his way of talking, and I know my love in his jacket blue. If my love leaves me, what will I do? And still she cried, I love him the best, and a trouble mine sure to know no rest. And still she cried, bunny boys are for you, and if my love leaves me, what will I do? And still she cried, I love him the best, and a trouble mine sure to know no rest. And still she cried, bunny boys are for you, and if my love leaves me, what will I do? Well, thank you. I'm going to continue here as quick as I can pick up this instrument. Since it's going so well, I'm just going to continue. Nothing is messed up so far. hat, it is frozen to my head. My feet are like a lump of lead. My shoes they have worn to my feet. What is staring at your window? Let me in. The soldier cried, cold, haily, windy night. Oh, let me in. The soldier cried, I'll not come back again. No, my father he watches down the street. My mother the chamber keys do keep. The doors and the windows they do creak. I'll dare not let you in. Oh, let me in. The soldier cried, cold, haily, windy night. Oh, let me in. The soldier cried, I'll not come back again. Oh. And she's let him in. She's kissed her to rule of cheek and chin. She's drawn in between the sheets again, and she's opened and she's let him in. Oh, and then she has blessed the rainy night, cold, haily, windy night. Oh, then she has blessed the rainy night. She opened, she let him in. Oh, oh, soldier, soldier, stay with me. Oh, soldier, soldier, won't you marry me? No, 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 that ne'er can be so fare thee well forever. And then she is cursed the rainy night, cold, haily, windy night. Oh, then she is cursed the rainy night. She opened, she let him in. Oh. Hat all on his head, for she had lost her maidenhead when she opened and she let him in. Oh, and then she is wept for the rainy night, cold, haily, windy night. Oh, then she is wept for the rainy night. She opened and she let him in. Oh, oh, my hat it is frozen to my head. My feet are like a lump of lead. My shoes have worn to my feet. With this staring at your window, let me in. The soldier cried, cold, haily, windy night. Oh, let me in. The soldier cried, I'll not come back again. Oh. Well, that was a song called Cold, Haily, Windy Night, and it's an old song. It's I got it originally from a man called Martin Carty, one of my heroes, I suppose. He was, well, he still is. He's still going strong. He has his 2 guitars, and he brings them around England and all over the place. I don't know if he drives yet. Don't know if he's got a license, but he takes the train everywhere and sings folk songs. And he was kind of hugely influential on the English folk scene. All throughout up till now, and he's still going strong. So, but anyway, it tells about a bad man and a soldier going to visit a woman at night, and then the first one is kind of about a bad man too. In fact, all of these songs are going to be about. None of these songs are happy. So, just so you know. And let's see, what's this one going to be? I didn't even write the set list or anything. I'm just going to do it ad lib here. I'm going to do one which I wrote a couple of years back. It's called The Alt, and The Alt is a place in County Sligo, just underneath Knocknarea, and it's an old mythological site, and no, not a mythological site. It's an old megalithic tomb, and close to it is Queen Maeve's burial ground. And Queen Maeve was a famous witch queen. She was a queen. She was buried standing up with in one hand there was a spear, and in another hand a sword, facing her enemies. She was a formidable woman, and she's one of the main protagonists in our famous book, mythological book, the Táin Cúailnge. And anyway, it has nothing to do with the song whatsoever, but kind of it's about an old man, I suppose, near the end of his life, and he's looking at his hands, and his hands are rutted like his land, scarred and deeply embedded. And I suppose he's imagining himself that soon he'll be in the clay, and soon he'll be dead, and he'll be part of the earth as well, along with all his family. And kind of it's one of those moments that we all have to face at one time or another. When summer fades with winter returning, leaves all piling, wind howling o'er, fast growing nights, the cold creeping under, well, these smouldering embers may warm us once more. Viewing the high hills, the cairns buried under, drove of sheep wander, the steep paths thread on. The witch queen lies waiting by the Altremaining, the bones of her country we've all gnawed upon. Fon Lomanish, Fon Lumgajo, Fon Lumgabuin, es Naimium, Fon Mohav, Arun is a storm, Be Lumgabuin, es Naimium. The magpie watches, its head turned towards me, its black eye beaded, to stare how it burns. Out fly the line o'er the lapping water, well, he'd give no quarter if the tail was turned. I'm not a child, my youth long departed, and I long for the light of that far western shore. My crooked hand as the land I was reared in, frail and piled under, frail and forlorn. Fon Lomanish, Fon Lumgajo, Fon Lumgabuin, es Naimium, Fon Mohav, Arun is a storm, Be Lumgabuin, es Naimium. The crooked rowan tree by little Antony's, cut it, coil it, wind it o'er and o'er. Peer into the spiral, into the eternal, and slowly slip under into the heart's core. Fon lum and ish, fon lum ga jo. Es noi mi Fanner mohave a rune is a store be longer buan es noi mi hold me close, hold me tightly, hold me forever and don't let me go. Be by my side, a rune is a store. Be longer buan is not me. Thank you. You all look. There's a few people in the recording booth there, the studio. It looks like the front of Star Trek or something. The Enterprise. Not saying that you all look like aliens or anything, but I'm gonna do a couple of tunes here. I'll start off with one that's. I think it's from, I'm not sure if it's from North Carolina, but it's an old-timey tune, but it has the definite Irish roots, and it's a beautiful air called Queen of the Earth, Child of the Skies, and that I got from the playing of a man called James Leva, who is a great fiddle player, singer, and songwriter too. And we made a recording called Memory Theatre years ago, and this was on it. And then follow it by a couple of tunes I wrote recently, kind of a few weeks ago. So, fingers crossed everything's going to go okay on this one. No names for them. the lads here were told me I was getting paid by the note, so I figured, what the hell. So, let's see. What do we do now? I do a song for my daughter here. This is a song I wrote for her a number of years ago now. She's 12 right now. I'm going to embarrass her in there. And it's called Little Sparrow. And when she was 2 or thereabouts, she used to make little presents. Get a crepe paper and different colored paper and put, coins or little marble pieces or something and kind of wrap them up and give them as presents to everybody for, 20,000 times a day. That was very cute. Anyway, this is a song called Little Sparrow. Little sparrow comes to me when daylight first draws near. She curls up tightly, safe beside me, sleeping without fear. Then she wakes, smiles and laughs, and whispers in my ear, singing softly to me, little sparrow, little sparrow. Singing softly to me, little sparrow, little sparrow. Singing softly to me. Little sparrow brings me gifts sealed tight and fine, and wraps them in the finest cloth and motions, they are mine. Jewels of glass, pennies and brass, aged and rusted by time. Oh, come bringing gifts to me, little sparrow, little sparrow. Come bringing gifts to me, little sparrow, little sparrow. Come bringing gifts to me. Come flying back to me when sunlight fades and days grow old. And I'll wrap you in silken scarves and keep you from the cold. This blessed treasure without measure in my arms I'll hold. Oh, come flying back to me, little sparrow, little sparrow. Come flying back to me, little sparrow, little sparrow. Come flying back to me. Singing bird, my precious bird, child of star and moon, fold your wings around me and heal me of my wounds. Release us from our sorrow, rejoice and come home soon. Oh, come safely home to me, little sparrow, little sparrow. Come safely home to me, little sparrow, little sparrow. Come safely home to me. Little sparrow comes to me when daylight first draws near. She curls up tightly, safe beside me, sleeping without fear. Then she wakes, smiles and laughs, whispers in my ear, singing softly to me, little sparrow, little sparrow. Singing softly to me, little sparrow, little sparrow. singing softly to me. Well, thank you. Trying to get the bouzouki over here. I'm going to do a song about my great-grandfather. His name was Martin Lohan, and he was from County Roscommon, and in 1915 he decided to emigrate to America, and it kind of was in the middle of the First World War, and kind of there wasn't many options in Ireland at the time, in Europe really. So he walked from Roscommon right down to Queenstown in Cove. It's a kind of 160 mile journey, and took the SS Arabic. It was a White Star Line ship. And they were about 80 kilometers offshore when U-24, a German U-boat and maneuvers, decided to attack. And plugged 2 torpedoes in her, and she went down in about 10 minutes. My great-grandfather was one of the lucky survivors. He jumped into the sea as a blast happened. And as he was swimming or drowning, a life raft came crammed with people to get him away from and they tried to get him away from it by beating him with oars. And luckily for him, a woman outstretched her hand and saved his life, hoisting him up onto the life raft. And so he was saved and went all the way back to Queenstown and spent 3 months in an infirmary there, and then walked all the way home. And much to his surprise, he found out that his news had never reached his family, that he had survived a wreck, and so they had buried him months before. And so he was kind of like coming back like a ghost to them. And hopefully they were happy to see him. You can imagine. Oh no, it's him. And so this is called the SS Arabic. As soon as I tune this beast up. This instrument here is a bouzouki, but it's kind of a guitar and a bouzouki together, and lovingly called a bazaar. And made by a man called Kevin Meaderman in North Dakota. Ooh. Close. Okay. In stony grey soil, through hardship and toil, Roscommon's rough lands they own me. Digging potatoes and ploughing the earth, as my family did long before me. When I swore I would furrow, plant my own seed, and rise from my knees and stand proudly. America I swore, or some foreign shore, would grant me the life I dreamt of surely. So I saved up the money, my passage to pay, braved the road early one morning. I bid adieu to my family among grief and tears, as I feared that there was no returning. On the White Star Line I'd soon sail away, although the Great War was still raging. We marched a long way, the Queenstown made way, and the Arabic it loomed far above me. What fate brings, what life is in store, we peer through a looking glass dimly. As I stepped on board, steerage went toward, well, below decks a dread chill spread over me. At last we weighed anchor and ploughed o'er the main, the last hint of land living slowly. We zigzagged our course for fear of the worst, but the worst plied its course far below me. the scourge of the sea spied us, and soon they made her ready. Torpedoes were loosed, and our ship was reduced to a watery grave, sinking steadily. The lifeboats were cast, the men embarked last, but there was too few for so many. Oh, I jumped in the sea as a blast wounded me, and the blood ran thick and freely. While in fear and confusion, thrashing around, dreading the abyss fast approaching, spying a life raft, I clung by its side, but they beat me with oars for encroaching. Still a lady on board took pity on me as I took my last breath and was sinking, grabbing my arm to keep me from harm. Well, she held me and saved me from drowning. We got back on shore, safe and secure, and they led us all to the infirmary. 3 months I spent there, wondering why I was there. Oh, why was I given mercy? Some live and some die, there's no reasons why. Those spinners weave their webs in mystery. But I'm back on my land, and fate lends a hand, and the roots of Roscommon weave around me. Right. I'll do a couple more for you here. Maybe. I was listening to a BBC program a little while back. It was about refugees coming over from Syria, and one particular person kind of was talking about his story, and it reminded me so much of many Irish stories of Irish immigrants coming over from Ireland to America in the 1800s. And the only difference was just the time, you know. The same kind of privation, the same hardships. And so I really wanted to write a song about it, and it came pretty quickly. So we'll see what happens. But I'll do it on the guitar since it's so hard to tune this frickin' thing. Actually, my daughter is going to, she has her own concert later on today, and I'm going to see, that I'm really excited about seeing with the orchestra. The stormy seas do roll, our boat packed and unsteady, water in the hold, gas fumes sting our eyes. We vanished in the night while the world was sleeping, and on this dreadful flight, well, we leave our lands behind. At home war rages on, burning rubble and ashes, The bombings had begun, so we scattered to the wind. My mother died last night, and we buried her in the morning. And in that early light, well, the tears, they filled my eyes. Oh, one fine day we'll rise again, rise again. Oh, one fine day we'll rise again. When I was but a boy, I worked hard and I prospered. I had no need for toys, well, I kept my family fed. But now I am a man, and I'm hiding in the shadows from militias and roving bands, but it's an early grave. Oh, one fine day we'll rise again, rise again. Oh, one fine day we'll rise again. Searchlights scan the seas as waves crash o'er us. The boat lists on our lee, and overboard we fly. The lucky ones reach land, but others sink down before me. And I try to lend a hand, and then I scramble to the shore. Oh, one fine day we'll rise again, rise again. Among the refugees housed in barbed wire, we're sunk down to our knees in the mud and mire. Oh, one fine day we'll rise again, rise again. Oh, one fine day we'll rise again. Oh, one fine day we'll rise again, rise again. One fine day we'll rise again. This is one of the more famous Irish songs, I suppose. It's called The Wild Rover. I'm sure nearly everyone knows this, but this is a kind of a different version of The Wild Rover. It's a slower version from the Drogheda region in Ireland. And if anyone listens enough to The Wild Rover, it was a drinking song, but really if you listen to it, it's actually an anti-drinking song. The last verse: if I had all the money that I left in your care, it would buy me the food for a family fare, it would thatch my new cottage, it would buy me a barn, and its wild roving give over. I've been a wild rover this many's a year, and I spent all my money on whiskey and strong liquor. But now for the future I must take better care. In in the hopes that good fortune might come to my care. Wild roving give over, wild roving give over, and I never'll be called the wild rover no more. I went into an alehouse that I used to frequent. I told the landlady all my money was spent. Oh, when she saw I had no money, well, she answered me nay. Such a custom of yours I can have any day. Wild roving give over, wild roving give over, and I never'll be called the wild rover no more. I put my hands in my pocket, some money to find, and I pulled out the full of my 2 hands 5 times. When saw I had no money, and money galore. Oh, when she saw I had money, well, she called me her store, saying I have beer and whiskey and the wines of the best, and the words that I told you, they're only in jest. Wild roving give over, wild roving give over, and I never'll be called the wild rover no more. I left in your care, it would buy me the food for a family fare, and it would thatch my new cottage, and it would buy me a barn, and it would buy me a greatcoat to keep my back warm. Wild roving give over, wild roving give over, and I never'll be called the wild rover no more. Wild roving give over, wild roving give over, I never'll be called the wild rover no more. Thank you. I'm going to end a little thing here with a song called Cleared Away. And it's about the Irish involvement in the Civil War, at least one particular incident. A man called Francis Marr was called Marr of the Sword. He was from Waterford originally. And he was one of our our heroes in Ireland. He was part of the 1848 rebellion, the Young Irelanders Rebellion, along with William Smith O'Brien and John Mitchell. And they, unfortunately, it was a failed rebellion. We were very good at failed rebellions too. And they were caught and sentenced to life. In fact, they were caught and sentenced to death, but because of public opinion, their sentence was commuted to 7 years penal servitude in Tasmania. And so they got there eventually, and after a year they decided to escape, and escape they did, and ended up in America. John Mitchell ended up in Knoxville, not too far away from here, and Francis Marr ended up in New York. And he was the most famous Irish person in his day around there, and he set up the Irish Brigade, or the Fighting 69th, and they fought a lot of battles. But the two major ones were Antietam and Fredericksburg. And in Fredericksburg, there was a major height called Mary's Heights, and a steep incline. And on the top of it were MacMillian's rebels. And MacMillian's rebels were about 85% naturalized Irish, people who had landed in the south, and they joined up because they were promised free clothes and 3 square meals a day, and they could see the country. And guess what? The people in the north were promised the exact same thing. And so anyway, the Fighting 69th went up the hill, about 3,000 of them, and 300 came down. It was kind of such a rout that the Fighting 69th were disbanded as a group. And Francis Marr himself got disillusioned with the war and ended up going to Montana, where he became the governor of Montana for a number of years, until he was eventually killed. So, with that really happy story, thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you down the road. This is a great spot, by the way. This Echo Mountain is one of the finest studios I've ever been in, and it's truly a wonder. So you're playing in a church here, as if you hadn't guessed. So there's a whole beautiful stained glass behind me here. In the cold grey light of morning, after the deal had gone down, I awoke and I shook all over, hoping a dram would bring me round. When I stared at the sights all around me, dusted blue and faded grey, men in heaps were scattered, men who fought and died the other day. Well, I lived my youth in Connemara, roving from town to town. I shipped on board of the Amelia, to New York City I was bound. Not for honor, nor for country, we kill for 3 square meals a day. Off the boat and pack on shoulder, gun in hand, we're here to stay. At Fredericksburg, we rose to meet them, though we knew the price we'd pay. But the Irish Brigade will not surrender, Fogaballa cleared away. General Marr, he gave the order, up Mary's Heights, charge away. The hills were rife with blood and murder, as we gouged and tore our way. MacMillian's rebels, they fired upon us, shot and shell, buck and ball. Their green flag rose high above them, as ours fell on the battle wall. At Fredericksburg, we rose to meet them, though we knew the price we'd pay. But the Irish Brigade will not surrender, Fogaballa cleared away. Well, hand to hand and face to face there, a young rebel, he charged me in the fray. I turned around and my blade went through him. I did the devil's work that day. For I saw my face there before me, in that boy that I hewed down. He could have been a friend or brother, another exile from my town. 3,000 strong rose to fight them in Antietam's ripening corn. But Fredericksburg was our undoing, 300 left to weep and mourn. At Fredericksburg we rose to meet them, but we knew the price we'd pay. But the Irish Brigade will not surrender, Fogaballa cleared away. At Fredericksburg we rose to meet them, though we knew the price we'd pay. But the Irish Brigade will not surrender, Fogaballa cleared away. Fogaballa cleared away. Thank you. Broke the string right at the end.
Ladies and gentlemen, John Doyle. John, thanks for coming and joining us today at Echo Sessions. Yeah. Sounded so beautiful. I know you guys are out there enjoying it. Thanks for watching IamAVL.com. Thank you to Prestige Subaru for supporting this series. And for those of you watching at home, we can let you know that we just had this series approved for syndication on UNC TV, so you can look for that next year. And we've got the Resident Rogues coming up next. We're going to take a few minutes to get them set up for you. So pop some popcorn, crack a cold one, whatever you need to do. We'll be here. We'll see you all in a few minutes. Peace.